每天练习英语听、说、练，与我们一起提升你的语言技能。完成后，在我们的应用程式里多加练习。免费，连结在下方。开始练习吧。
Maya says Honduras is in Central America. Maya says Honduras is in Central America.
迈尔说洪都拉斯在中美洲。
Maya says Honduras is in Central America. Maya says Honduras is in Central America. Diego tells me the capital is Tegucigalpa. Diego tells me the capital is Tegucigalpa.
Diego 告诉我首都是德古西加巴。
Diego tells me the capital is Tegucigalpa. Diego tells me the capital is Tegucigalpa. Sarah loves the beaches in Roatan. Sarah loves the beaches in Roatan.
Sarah 很喜欢罗阿坦的海滩。
Sarah loves the beaches in Roatan. Sarah loves the beaches in Roatan. Ben wants to visit the Copan ruins. Ben wants to visit the Copan ruins.
Ben 想去参观科潘遗址。
Ben wants to visit the Copan ruins. Ben wants to visit the Copan ruins. Rosa hears Spanish is spoken in Honduras. Rosa hears Spanish is spoken in Honduras.
Rosa 听说在洪都拉斯讲西班牙语。
Rosa hears Spanish is spoken in Honduras. Rosa hears Spanish is spoken in Honduras. Liam asks about the Honduran lempira. Liam asks about the Honduran lempira.
Liam 询问洪都拉斯的货币伦皮拉。
Liam asks about the Honduran lempira. Liam asks about the Honduran lempira. Zoe plans a trip to San Pedro Sula. Zoe plans a trip to San Pedro Sula.
Zoe 计划去圣佩德罗苏拉旅行。
Zoe plans a trip to San Pedro Sula. Zoe plans a trip to San Pedro Sula. Nico reads about the Bay Islands. Nico reads about the Bay Islands.
Nico 读到关于海湾群岛的资讯。
Nico reads about the Bay Islands. Nico reads about the Bay Islands. Emma thinks the people are friendly. Emma thinks the people are friendly.
Emma 觉得当地人很友善。
Emma thinks the people are friendly. Emma thinks the people are friendly. Omar says the flag has 5 stars. Omar says the flag has 5 stars.
Omar 说国旗上有5颗星。
Omar says the flag has 5 stars. Omar says the flag has 5 stars. Clara likes photos of Lake Yohoa. Clara likes photos of Lake Yohoa.
Clara 喜欢约霍阿湖的照片。
Clara likes photos of Lake Yohoa. Clara likes photos of Lake Yohoa. Hugo wants to try baleadas there. Hugo wants to try baleadas there.
Hugo 想在那里试试 baleadas。
Hugo wants to try baleadas there. Hugo wants to try baleadas there. Ava learns that Honduras has mountains. Ava learns that Honduras has mountains.
Ava 得知洪都拉斯有山脉。
Ava learns that Honduras has mountains. Ava learns that Honduras has mountains. Leo sees rainforests in a travel show. Leo sees rainforests in a travel show.
Leo 在旅游节目里看到雨林。
Leo sees rainforests in a travel show. Leo sees rainforests in a travel show. Nina says Honduras borders Guatemala. Nina says Honduras borders Guatemala.
Nina 说洪都拉斯与瓜地马拉接壤。
Nina says Honduras borders Guatemala. Nina says Honduras borders Guatemala. Marco says it also borders El Salvador. Marco says it also borders El Salvador.
Marco 说他也与萨尔瓦多接壤。
Marco says it also borders El Salvador. Marco says it also borders El Salvador. Elena adds it borders Nicaragua too. Elena adds it borders Nicaragua too.
Elena 补充说也与尼加拉瓜接壤。
Elena adds it borders Nicaragua too. Elena adds it borders Nicaragua too. Felix mentions the Caribbean coast is long. Felix mentions the Caribbean coast is long.
Felix 提到加勒比海岸线很长。
Felix mentions the Caribbean coast is long. Felix mentions the Caribbean coast is long. Vera notes the Gulf of Fonseca coast. Vera notes the Gulf of Fonseca coast.
Vera 提到丰塞卡湾一带的海岸。
Vera notes the Gulf of Fonseca coast. Vera notes the Gulf of Fonseca coast. Ivan wants to dive in Utila. Ivan wants to dive in Utila.
Ivan 想在乌提拉潜水。
Ivan wants to dive in Utila. Ivan wants to dive in Utila. Paula dreams of snorkeling in Roatan. Paula dreams of snorkeling in Roatan.
Paula 梦想在罗阿坦浮潜。
Paula dreams of snorkeling in Roatan. Paula dreams of snorkeling in Roatan. Ravi asks about the weather in June. Ravi asks about the weather in June.
Ravi 询问6月的天气如何。
Ravi asks about the weather in June. Ravi asks about the weather in June. Tara says it is tropical and warm. Tara says it is tropical and warm.
Tara 说那里属于热带，天气温暖。
Tara says it is tropical and warm. Tara says it is tropical and warm. Carlos loves Honduran coffee in the morning. Carlos loves Honduran coffee in the morning.
Carlos 早上喜欢喝洪都拉斯咖啡。
Carlos loves Honduran coffee in the morning. Carlos loves Honduran coffee in the morning. Maya shows me a map of Honduras. Maya shows me a map of Honduras.
Maya 给我看一张洪都拉斯地图。
Maya shows me a map of Honduras. Maya shows me a map of Honduras. Diego points to Tegucigalpa on the map. Diego points to Tegucigalpa on the map.
Diego 在地图上指住德古西加巴。
Diego points to Tegucigalpa on the map. Diego points to Tegucigalpa on the map. Sarah reads that San Pedro Sula is big. Sarah reads that San Pedro Sula is big.
Sarah 读到圣佩德罗苏拉很大。
Sarah reads that San Pedro Sula is big. Sarah reads that San Pedro Sula is big. Ben says La Ceiba has a fun carnival. Ben says La Ceiba has a fun carnival.
Ben 说拉塞瓦有有趣的嘉年华。
Ben says La Ceiba has a fun carnival. Ben says La Ceiba has a fun carnival. Rosa hears about the La Ceiba carnival. Rosa hears about the La Ceiba carnival.
Rosa 听说过拉塞瓦嘉年华。
Rosa hears about the La Ceiba carnival. Rosa hears about the La Ceiba carnival. Liam wants to see Pico Bonito Park. Liam wants to see Pico Bonito Park.
Liam 想去看看皮科伯尼托国家公园。
Liam wants to see Pico Bonito Park. Liam wants to see Pico Bonito Park. Zoe plans a hike near Salac. Zoe plans a hike near Salac.
Zoe 计划在塞拉克附近健行。
Zoe plans a hike near Salac. Zoe plans a hike near Salac. Nico asks about the highest peak there. Nico asks about the highest peak there.
Nico 询问那里的最高峰是什么。
Nico asks about the highest peak there. Nico asks about the highest peak there. Emma says Salac is the highest peak. Emma says Salac is the highest peak.
Emma 说塞拉克就是最高峰。
Emma says Salac is the highest peak. Emma says Salac is the highest peak. Omar wants to visit Gracias, a mountain town. Omar wants to visit Gracias, a mountain town.
Omar 想去格拉西亚斯，那是一座山城。
Omar wants to visit Gracias, a mountain town. Omar wants to visit Gracias, a mountain town. Clara talks about Trujillo and its bay. Clara talks about Trujillo and its bay.
Clara 谈到特鲁西略和那里的海湾。
Clara talks about Trujillo and its bay. Clara talks about Trujillo and its bay. Hugo says the Bay Islands are great for diving. Hugo says the Bay Islands are great for diving.
Hugo 说海湾群岛很适合潜水。
Hugo says the Bay Islands are great for diving. Hugo says the Bay Islands are great for diving. Ava wants to learn some Spanish phrases. Ava wants to learn some Spanish phrases.
Ava 想学一些西班牙语片语。
Ava wants to learn some Spanish phrases. Ava wants to learn some Spanish phrases. Leo practices hola and gracias with Anna. Leo practices hola and gracias with Anna.
Leo 跟 Anna 练习 hola 和 gracias。
Leo practices hola and gracias with Anna. Leo practices hola and gracias with Anna. Nina says many people also speak English on islands. Nina says many people also speak English on islands.
Nina 说群岛上很多人也说英语。
Nina says many people also speak English on islands. Nina says many people also speak English on islands. Marco hears Garifuna music in a video. Marco hears Garifuna music in a video.
Marco 在影片里听到加里富纳音乐。
Marco hears Garifuna music in a video. Marco hears Garifuna music in a video. Elena says punta music makes her dance. Elena says punta music makes her dance.
Elena 说蓬塔音乐让她想跳舞。
Elena says punta music makes her dance. Elena says punta music makes her dance. Felix reads about Garifuna communities. Felix reads about Garifuna communities.
Felix 读到关于加里富纳社群的资料。
Felix reads about Garifuna communities. Felix reads about Garifuna communities. Vera wants to try sopa de caracol. Vera wants to try sopa de caracol.
Vera 想试试 sopa de caracol.
Vera wants to try sopa de caracol. Vera wants to try sopa de caracol. Ivan orders baleadas with beans and cheese. Ivan orders baleadas with beans and cheese.
Ivan 点了内有豆子和起司的 baleadas.
Ivan orders baleadas with beans and cheese. Ivan orders baleadas with beans and cheese. Paula likes tajadas with fried plantains. Paula likes tajadas with fried plantains.
Paula 喜欢吃炸大椒片 tajadas.
Paula likes tajadas with fried plantains. Paula likes tajadas with fried plantains. Ravi asks about safe areas to stay. Ravi asks about safe areas to stay.
Ravi 询问哪些地区住宿较安全。
Ravi asks about safe areas to stay. Ravi asks about safe areas to stay. Tara books a hotel in a central area. Tara books a hotel in a central area.
Tara 在市中心地带订了饭店。
Tara books a hotel in a central area. Tara books a hotel in a central area. Carlos keeps his passport in a safe place. Carlos keeps his passport in a safe place.
Carlos 把护照放在安全的地方。
Carlos keeps his passport in a safe place. Carlos keeps his passport in a safe place. Maya takes a taxi from the airport. Maya takes a taxi from the airport.
Maya 从机场搭计程车。
Maya takes a taxi from the airport. Maya takes a taxi from the airport. Diego uses a bus to travel between cities. Diego uses a bus to travel between cities.
Diego 搭公车在城市之间移动。
Diego uses a bus to travel between cities. Diego uses a bus to travel between cities. Sarah rides a ferry to Roatan. Sarah rides a ferry to Roatan.
Sarah 搭渡轮前往罗阿坦。
Sarah rides a ferry to Roatan. Sarah rides a ferry to Roatan. Ben takes a ferry to Utila too. Ben takes a ferry to Utila too.
Ben 也搭渡轮去乌提拉。
Ben takes a ferry to Utila too. Ben takes a ferry to Utila too. Rosa buys a local SIM card for data. Rosa buys a local SIM card for data.
Rosa 买了在地的 SIM 卡上网。
Rosa buys a local SIM card for data. Rosa buys a local SIM card for data. Liam uses an app to call a taxi. Liam uses an app to call a taxi.
Liam 用 App 叫计程车。
Liam uses an app to call a taxi. Liam uses an app to call a taxi. Zoe carries small bills in lempiras. Zoe carries small bills in lempiras.
Zoe 带住一些小面额的伦皮拉纸钞。
Zoe carries small bills in lempiras. Zoe carries small bills in lempiras. Nico changes dollars to lempiras at a bank. Nico changes dollars to lempiras at a bank.
Nico 在银行把美元换成伦皮拉。
Nico changes dollars to lempiras at a bank. Nico changes dollars to lempiras at a bank. Emma learns that tips are appreciated. Emma learns that tips are appreciated.
Emma 得知小费会受到感谢。
Emma learns that tips are appreciated. Emma learns that tips are appreciated. Omar asks about plug adapters for outlets. Omar asks about plug adapters for outlets.
Omar 询问插座是否需要转接头。
Omar asks about plug adapters for outlets. Omar asks about plug adapters for outlets. Clara says the outlets are like in the US. Clara says the outlets are like in the US.
Clara 说插座跟美国的一样。
Clara says the outlets are like in the US. Clara says the outlets are like in the US. Hugo meets friendly guides at the hotel. Hugo meets friendly guides at the hotel.
Hugo 在饭店遇到友善的导游。
Hugo meets friendly guides at the hotel. Hugo meets friendly guides at the hotel. Ava tries fresh mango at a market. Ava tries fresh mango at a market.
Ava 在市场吃新鲜的芒果。
Ava tries fresh mango at a market. Ava tries fresh mango at a market. Leo eats grilled fish by the beach. Leo eats grilled fish by the beach.
Leo 在海边吃烤鱼。
Leo eats grilled fish by the beach. Leo eats grilled fish by the beach. Nina drinks horchata with lunch. Nina drinks horchata with lunch.
Nina 午餐配 horchata。
Nina drinks horchata with lunch. Nina drinks horchata with lunch. Marco tastes tamales with chicken. Marco tastes tamales with chicken.
Marco 品尝鸡肉 tamales。
Marco tastes tamales with chicken. Marco tastes tamales with chicken. Elena orders pastelitos with beef. Elena orders pastelitos with beef.
Elena 点了牛肉 pastelitos。
Elena orders pastelitos with beef. Elena orders pastelitos with beef. Felix adds chismol on his meat. Felix adds chismol on his meat.
Felix 在肉上加 chismol 酱。
Felix adds chismol on his meat. Felix adds chismol on his meat. Vera buys sweet bread at a bakery. Vera buys sweet bread at a bakery.
Vera 在面包店买甜面包。
Vera buys sweet bread at a bakery. Vera buys sweet bread at a bakery. Ivan enjoys Honduran chocolate and coffee. Ivan enjoys Honduran chocolate and coffee.
Ivan 享用洪都拉斯巧克力和咖啡。
Ivan enjoys Honduran chocolate and coffee. Ivan enjoys Honduran chocolate and coffee. Paula asks about local craft markets. Paula asks about local craft markets.
Paula 询问在地的手工艺市集。
Paula asks about local craft markets. Paula asks about local craft markets. Ravi buys a handmade hammock. Ravi buys a handmade hammock.
Ravi 买了一张手工吊床。
Ravi buys a handmade hammock. Ravi buys a handmade hammock. Tara learns about Lenka pottery. Tara learns about Lenka pottery.
Tara 了解伦卡族的陶艺。
Tara learns about Lenka pottery. Tara learns about Lenka pottery. Carlos visits a museum in Tegucigalpa. Carlos visits a museum in Tegucigalpa.
Carlos 在德古西加巴参观博物馆。
Carlos visits a museum in Tegucigalpa. Carlos visits a museum in Tegucigalpa. Maya tours the Köppen site with a guide. Maya tours the Köppen site with a guide.
Maya 和导游一起参观科潘遗址。
Maya tours the Köppen site with a guide. Maya tours the Köppen site with a guide. Diego takes photos of Mayan stelae. Diego takes photos of Mayan stelae.
Diego 拍摄玛雅石碑的照片。
Diego takes photos of Mayan stelae. Diego takes photos of Mayan stelae. Sarah admires the hieroglyphic stairway. Sarah admires the hieroglyphic stairway.
Sarah 赞叹那座象形文字阶梯。
Sarah admires the hieroglyphic stairway. Sarah admires the hieroglyphic stairway. Ben reads signs in Spanish and English. Ben reads signs in Spanish and English.
Ben 读注西班牙语和英语的标示。
Ben reads signs in Spanish and English. Ben reads signs in Spanish and English. Rosa listens to a story about the Maya. Rosa listens to a story about the Maya.
Rosa 听关于玛雅人的故事。
Rosa listens to a story about the Maya. Rosa listens to a story about the Maya. Liam practices numbers with prices at shops. Liam practices numbers with prices at shops.
Liam 在店里用标价来练习数字。
Liam practices numbers with prices at shops. Liam practices numbers with prices at shops. Zoe says the buses are called Rapiditos. Zoe says the buses are called Rapiditos.
Zoe 说公车叫做 Rapiditos。
Zoe says the buses are called Rapiditos. Zoe says the buses are called Rapiditos. Nico tries a mototaxi for a short ride. Nico tries a mototaxi for a short ride.
Nico 试搭一小段的机车三轮计程车 mototaxi。
Nico tries a mototaxi for a short ride. Nico tries a mototaxi for a short ride. Emma asks how to say please in Spanish. Emma asks how to say please in Spanish.
Emma 问请用西班牙语怎么说。
Emma asks how to say please in Spanish. Emma asks how to say please in Spanish. Omar says por favor helps a lot. Omar says por favor helps a lot.
Omar 说 por favor 很有帮助。
Omar says por favor helps a lot. Omar says por favor helps a lot. Clara greets people with buenos dias. Clara greets people with buenos dias.
Clara 用 buenos dias 向人问好。
Clara greets people with buenos dias. Clara greets people with buenos dias. Hugo thanks people by saying muchas gracias. Hugo thanks people by saying muchas gracias.
Hugo 用 muchas gracias 向人道谢。
Hugo thanks people by saying muchas gracias. Hugo thanks people by saying muchas gracias.
感谢观看，订阅我们的频道并开启通知，及时获取新视频，持续你的英语学习之旅。